You have a reputation, at least in terms of what I read. If you see, and I say that because I don't know whether it's true or not. If you see something that you would like to do, a script that suggests a character, you're prepared to go to the director and make the case for you.
That's right.
You've done that a number of times.
This is. I have to say, this is one similarity that Iris Murdoch and I share. Is that life is short, life is precious,
yes.
and it's here for living, and you only get one chance.
Exactly right. And go for it, kid.
Well, that's right. So without being pushy or forceful, I always try and communicate my passion for that particular project to a director, because apart from anything else, I'm sure that directors often quite like to hear how much that actor would either like to work with them or be involved in this particular script because they think that it's fabulous or whatever, and that they think they can bring a certain thing to it. So yes, I have been known to make the odd telephone call. Amazing. In
Titanic, the story is that you helped persuade Leonardo to do it?
I guess I kind of did. I think about this now, and actually, Jim Cameron took an enormous risk, really, in casting me in this role. I'm English, I'm not an American, not necessarily a huge box office name. I had done Sense and Sensibility and received the nomination, but still I was known in the UK and not so much really here. And I received a lot of fan mail after Titanic saying, I think this is great, what a fantastic debut performance. Not realising that I'd done about 5 other movies by that point anyway, so it was just, it was just interesting. But I was the first cast member to be, to be on board, and Leo was just, I think he was umming and ahhing about it, and I met up with him in Cannes. We were both there for the film festival one year, and I remember tracking him down. I said, let's go and have lunch. Do this. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it together. We'll have fun, and thankfully he said yes. He did it. So.
Roll tape. Here's a scene from Titanic. Back to Iris.
God, I haven't seen that for ages.
How many times have you seen the movie?
I've seen it 3 times. I've seen it 3 times. Long time. I really haven't seen it for a very long time. It's interesting, actually, because I usually don't watch something that I've been in more than twice, maximum of absolutely 3 times. Iris I've seen 4 times, and I still can't wait to see it again.
Why is that?
I don't know why. I think it's not that I love it more than any of the other things that I've done, but I think it just has a very special place for me for some reason, this movie, and I think it's probably because it's a true story, and it is such a wonderfully inspiring love story, and because it's real, there's nothing predictable or formulaic about it. So as an audience, you watch it and it makes you laugh and cry in very different places, and it gives me something different every time I see it, for some reason.
The idea of her, which I find remarkable, and I know people like this, it is the complete honesty with themselves, so that if they're unhappy, they can't live a lie.
That's right.
They cannot not express who they are, what they feel, and what their life is about.
That's true.
Right.
That's very true. And I think that, again, was a similarity that perhaps I only recognised once I'd shot the movie. I was sort of, because I'm a little like that, just in the sense that, this is me, this is who I am, and, I'll never change kind of thing. And I don't demand that people accept me as I am or anything like that. But Iris, absolutely. Just she was the same. She was just, this is me. You must accept me as I am. It was.
Did you say you don't demand that people accept you that way, meaning that you basically say, this is who I am?
Yeah, this is who I am, and you kind of you take me or you leave me, kind of thing.
How much do you care, because of your profession, about what people think of you?
That's a difficult one. I mean, I always have to whittle this down to really only caring about what my family and my friends, not so much think about me, but how they feel and their support. And that is more important to me than anything else. I mean, obviously, as an actor, you're in a movie, and you can only hope that people are going to go and like your performance and like the movie. You can only hope that happens, and that's the risk as actors that we take, because sometimes people, look, some people didn't like Titanic. I'm sure some people may not like Iris. You just don't know. You can't expect everything to be a success, but you can only hope that what you're giving to a movie is as honest and as whole as possible. And that is, that's not easy to do. I mean, there are some actors, I always say this about Leonardo DiCaprio, actually, there are some actors who are literally gifted from God and can just walk in and do it. And that is what Leo is like. And there's, I used to sweat and panic and pore over everything, oh, how are we going to do this scene? And, and really have to try and get it out and work at it. You kind of ripping your stomach open. But Leo would just, be very, very relaxed and just walk in and just do it. And
you
every
couldn't
time.
Do that.
No, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. And I like to be pushed, and I like to be directed. I think I need to be directed as well. I think, as an actor, you can never quite know, or I can never quite know if I'm getting it right or not. And I always want to make sure that the director has lots of different options, so that when they get into that editing room, you know, that they can put it together and you know, use different segments and things.
I opened the introduction of you by saying that, you know, you are known as someone who plays by your own rules, who makes your own choices. You think is that an accurate portrayal, or is it just simply happened that way?
No,
because
I think
people looked at Titanic and said, you know, clearly this establishes her with a huge visibility, you know, and therefore you might have said, I'm going to choose carefully high visibility films to more firmly establish myself as some kind of performer.
Well, I didn't. It's not really about fame for me. And in fact, when people always say, you know, well, she's a huge movie star or all these I sort of want to hide under the table, because I don't know, I always feel rather embarrassed at being described in such a way. I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with being English. I've no idea. But I love acting. You know, I really do love it. And I'm from an acting family, so I've always grown up with it. And to me, it has always been about the script and the role. Not the size of the role, but how strong the role is and how much of a challenge I think that role might be to me, and whether or not it's going to have an impact on my own life.
And in those films that you have gone after, it is simply because...
I've loved the script. It's simply because I've loved the script. I mean, after Titanic, you know, people often say, you know, this thing of, oh, you could have gone and done, you know, big things. And
you probably turned big things down.
Yes, that did happen. But I did absolutely want to do a little film after Titanic. I did have this feeling of I just wanted everything to just calm down for a while. Because everything went crazy. You know, people would say to me, oh, your life's going to turn upside down, it's going to completely change. And I would go, no, it's not. You know, my life's going to remain exactly the same and I'm going to be the same person. But of course, my life did change. You know, it did turn upside down for a while. And then it comes down and it goes back to normal. And I think I didn't want to fuel the fire in a way, because I just wanted to remind myself that what is it that I do for a living? Ah, it's acting. And why do I do that? Oh, yes, because I love it. And I didn't want to find myself getting cynical about this, you know, this new position that I was in. I didn't want to at any point do that. And
how do you find all the attendant publicity that comes to your personal life, whether marriage, parenthood, divorce, relationships?
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. You know, it's frustrating, but you just kind of have to accept it, really, and also not to let your life be dictated by what people say or what people are writing.
Is there any need that you have, for example, if your marriage is breaking up, you know, to make sure that people understand that the truth of it, and the truth of it in terms of, look, don't believe that this was a breakup because of this reason. It simply was something between the two of us, and we both realized it, and we had a conversation, and we decided that.
I think the thing that was a shock to people was that, you know, my ex-husband and I appeared to be very happy and incredibly grounded and all of that. You know, and there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors that, you know, people just don't know about. But it hadn't been working for a while, and these were conversations that we were both having constantly. And, you know, we tried to make everything okay. You know, you don't just say, oh, look, you know, let's call it a day and walk out the door. We tried to make everything okay. But I think when we realized that we were no longer making each other happy and that we didn't want the happiness of our child to be affected, that was when we acted in the way that we did. And in terms of what people wrote and speculated about it, well, I had to just shrug it off, because I know the situation.
Right.
Jim knew the situation. It was absolutely mutual and amicable, and remains to be so. You know, and he's a great guy and he's a great father, and all those things are really true. And people just don't like to believe that a breakup can be amicable, but it really is. So, you know, and everything that people write, I just have to
as long as
ignore.
The three of you know.
Well, as long as my child is happy, that's all I care about. And of course, yes, as long as the three of us.
Is it Mia or Maya? How does she?
Mia.
It's Mia.
Yes, that's right.
Your dad was an actor.
Yes.
Was frequently out of work, as actors are.
Yeah. I mean, when I thought about being an actor, I remember I didn't even think about making movies. It didn't even occur to me, because I had never grown up with that happening to any member of my family. You know, they were always waiting for the call and waiting for the job,
doing
and going
odd jobs
for
while they
castings,
waited.
and yeah, absolutely, it was all of that. So I just anticipated that that was what I would do as well.
You did.
And
you assumed
yes.
that I would be an actor.
Oh, I knew that I was going to be an
knew.
actor. I just sort of didn't think I would have any option, in a way. I sort of thought, well, there's no way out. You know, that's probably what I'll end up doing. And that's just simply sort of what happened. I wanted to be an actress. I remember absolutely feeling that from a very young age. But it was kind of dictated for me because of the fact that all my family had done it, and my father and so on, and grandparents and everything else. But yeah, I was used to, you know, just seeing a bunch of jobbing actors in my family who were all fantastic. But that was what I thought, you know, that would be the case for me. And so suddenly, when I was 17 and finding myself in Heavenly Creatures, Peter Jackson's movie, I just couldn't believe it. And when I was making the film, I don't think I ever thought that it was people were going to see it. I don't think I ever thought about the fact that that film would at some point be released. It was so weird. I was just there and doing it and trying to be as present as I could and trying to enjoy myself as much as I could, and just, you know, couldn't believe that I was in a film. And you know, and it did what it did, and I'm, you know, incredibly grateful to this day for Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, his co-writer, for casting me in that part, because that was very much the beginning for me.
It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.